we go to our first episode, or for today's live, Paul Anderson.
Let's do that.
Yeah, it's been a while since that episode.
So long.
Yeah, exactly. And it was predominantly focusing on empowering Black youth. And he was talking about his own social justice.
In the UK.
Yeah, in the UK. But he was also speaking about his work. And I don't know if you have any recollections or any reflections on that particular episode with Paul that really stood out to you.
The main thing I remembered from the podcast with Paul was the fact that Paul went back to Nigeria. And before he went back to Nigeria, I think he said he was getting in trouble with the law, with the police. And he went back to Nigeria. He really found a sense of home, a direction where he belonged and everything. And he really found a sense of home, basically. And when he came back, I think that's when things started changing for him. I think that was the main thing that I remember from that particular episode.
Yeah. I think one of the highlights from that podcast was him focusing on ancestry connection and how important it is, and how sometimes we might dismiss our culture because we're living in a very individualistic society, and a lot of us come from collectivist cultures, and there's a lot more context to our culture. And by going back home and exploring that, you might be able to connect more, and then also want to explore its history, for example, or the nuances of your identity in the West. So he gave an example of like names, like, you know, how important our names are in our cultures and what that means, but not necessarily having an understanding of that before he went back to Nigeria.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And the other thing, although this is Hameed, you're learning, how important representation is in all walks of life, being able to see people like you in certain spaces.
I don't remember that. Explain that. Because all I can think of, what I think of is the story that he told when he went to the barbershop and he got his hair cut and he left the barbershop and I think was his auntie or something, was like, "Where's your hair?" And then she had to take him back to the barbershop to pack up his hair because they were afraid that, you know, they could do something with the hair. I remember that story from that particular podcast. That was funny.
How was it? I don't actually remember that story.
See, we remember things differently.
Of course. I remember mentioning something about one of my colleagues from Ghana training with me and seeing a Black psychologist for the first time in a lecture on a doctoral program, and how much in awe he was of this Black psychologist, male psychologist, and how till today I still also get that in whether I'm supervising or lecturing, like, oh, we haven't seen a South Asian psychologist before, or I haven't been supervised by one before. So I guess from that, we were talking about how important representation is, seeing other people in spaces that you also aspire to be in, or to be connected to people who have certain aspirations.
100%.
But yeah.
That episode was a long time ago.
Yeah. He was saying there's not many provisions for the Black community in the UK. Just generally, he was talking about the pipeline.
Oh, the school to prison pipeline.
School to prison pipeline.
That's a real thing.
System of failure, right?
I think after that episode, I actually Googled it and I saw that there's actually a correlation. Wait, hold on. School to prison pipeline in the UK. School to prison pipeline is a term describing the concerning trend where school disciplinary policies and practices such as blah, blah, can lead to increased involvement with the criminal justice system, particularly from students in marginalized communities. Okay. I think I saw an actual statistic about this that, oh man, I've forgotten what it was, but they said like how they calculate how much room, I don't know if this was in the States or if this was in the UK, but how they calculate how much room or how much prison cells they would need in the future is by calculating how many kids don't do well in school, something like that. It was something very insidious and sinister. And I'm trying to find that statistic because I feel like it'd be so interesting to find out where it's from. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, it was quite a long time ago. And the only reason, like, I, went through the little recaps on Instagram. So it's not my memory fully. Anyway, I could have kept that to myself. But before we move on to the next episode, I guess, because we always ask our guest if there's anything that they would really encourage people to do, whether it's here or how does it impact Africa. Is there anything from that episode that you took away for yourself and applied, or would really encourage your listeners to think about or consider?
I'd say the main thing that I took away from that particular episode would be I can focus on the thing and I kick stop. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? Oh, I have issues. Oh God.
Should we change her name to Sum Aura? See the last comment.
No, I didn't.
So should we change her name to Sum Aura?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is so frustrating. Why do I do this to myself?
Hameed, play with the orange ball you've got and stop fidgeting.
Anyways, yeah. So your question was, did I take anything away from that particular episode? And anything that I would want to share with the people, Dems? And the answer is yes, I did take something from that particular episode. And it was just that, once again, the main thing that stood out for me for that episode is that when he went back to Nigeria and he found a place and he found a home and he found like a culture that he belonged to, that he's from, it did something to him that changed the way things were going. And I think I said it during that episode as well. We should be able to make sure that young Black and African people from the UK are able to go back home and explore life in Kenya, in Nigeria, in any of these countries, and just see how things are. So yeah, I would say that's the main thing I took away from it. Yeah.
I think there's something about connecting to your heritage that is really important. There are a lot of people who live in the West who have never gone back home. I mean, I haven't been back to India since I was 9 years old. But
really?
I did go twice. Yeah.
No, like have you really never not been back since 9?
I think I went when I was 8 and then 9. I haven't been back since. I would like to go, but I would like to go for a longer period. So it's not something I can do right now. But
that is so interesting.
But also remember, like,
because you travel all the time.
Yeah, we've always spoken about, like, for me, I don't have a majority home. As an Indian Muslim woman, I'm a minority here in the UK, but I'm also a minority in India. And Islamophobia is on the rise in India. Obviously, I would love to go back. India is a really big country, and I just don't want to go back to where my parents are from. I would like to explore it a bit more. Yeah, I went to Sri Lanka, which was not too far from India. There's a lot of overlaps. It reminded me of home recently.
Can we discuss that a little bit? Why do you think Islamophobia is on the rise in India?
I mean, it's all based on governments, isn't it? It depends on who is leading. I mean, to be honest, I don't engage in, this is probably a protective mechanism, engage in Indian politics as much, because I just think there's so much more happening. I mean, to be honest, it's all interlinked. I shouldn't say that. But I know Modi, for example, the current prime minister, he's actually from Gujarat. That's where I'm from. I'm Gujarati.
But he doesn't like Indian Muslims, so does he?
No. He believes that India is for Hindus. It's the whole right wing.
That's something that the British started, right?
I mean, we can say that because prior to Britain coming into the country, we coexisted, married into each other's, I don't even think religion was an issue back then. Adopted each other's religious culture as well, because obviously we all have our Indian culture and then we have regional culture, but also our religion, because the Sikhs, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Baha'i faith. There's so many different cultures and religions there. Yeah, so Britain started it off, divide and conquer.
And we're still seeing the repercussions of that today, or?
Yeah, but I think in particular with this government, there's something that's shifted. Because I remember growing up, or in the more recent years, like for example, when it comes to Eid, we sacrifice a ram, a sheep or goat, or, whatever. I think that's actually banned. Like you can't do that openly.
In India. And I think a bit like wherever we grow up or how Islamophobia is manifested in other countries, it's the same in India. But what people see is that, the unemployment rates in India at the moment have declined thanks to Modi. Well, yeah, but what about everything else? And obviously we know where India stands when it comes to the genocide of Palestine. And literally, I don't know if you've seen videos of Indians going to, quotation marks, Israel, occupied Palestine, and being like, we're here to support you. And the Israelis are like, go home, go back to where you've come from. And there's so much resistance. And I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, I am Indian, but I'm not this kind of Indian. Have you not seen it? Have you not seen the videos? I haven't seen videos like that.
Yeah, there've been people even online just showing their support. And literally, if I was speaking if I wasn't watching, basically begging it when it comes to showing their support for Israel. But what is it rooted in is actually Islamophobia, because they're thinking Palestine Muslims rather than them seeing it as Palestine also has different faiths. There's Palestinian Christians, Palestinian Jews, Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian atheists probably.
India does have a pro-Israel.
Yeah, but I don't think historically they did. And if you look at the research historically, I don't think they did. I think they were an advocate of Palestine once upon a time. But if you think about it, obviously you've got Kashmir, which is stateless. People are fighting for Kashmir, India and Pakistan. So there's a lot of history and a lot of learning to do. But Hameed, When did you go back to Nigeria?
What kind of question is that? Oh, you're attacking me.
Because I thought we'll move on to the next episode, but I just wanted,
Yeah, so firstly, you're right. India does have a pro-Israel stance. That's a shame.
Imagine this guy's fact-checking because he doesn't believe me.
No, I'm not fact-checking. This is for the audience out there as well. I feel like the better we do this, the higher the quality of the conversation, maybe. Why is India's Hindu right pro-Israel? Hindu nationalists would like to emulate Israel. They would like to create... Okay, so basically that's the main reason. They want to get rid of all the Muslims in India. Even though before the British came, Indian Muslims and Hindus were just like living and doing their thing and there was no issues, right? It reminds me of Nigeria. Like it's the same in Nigeria. Like I don't know how many Yoruba people, but a lot of the Yoruba people that I'm sure they have Muslims in their family. They have Christians in their family. Yeah. Like it's not we have religion and then we have our culture and the two can merge and it is not a divisive situation. I have Christian cousins. My siblings are Muslims. Obviously, I have Muslim cousins too. And at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. I suppose it's because of the Pakistan-India thing that the British did.
British colonization. But also I think this you can check. But I think there was something about if you are Muslim and you date a Hindu, I don't know if there were repercussions like prison or you would have to like run away. Just recently, yeah.
Let me check that.
Yeah, you can check that.
Is it not allowed?
Whether it's legal, illegal, or if it's just something that's frowned upon, but there's definitely an issue now.
So where do you think this is going from your perspective with this? I don't even know what you'd call this. What do you call it? This divisive policy that India has. Where do you think it's leading the country towards?
I mean, you saw what it said in the article.
What did it say in the article?
They want to replicate what's happening.
Basically, it's leading to ethnic cleansing if we're not careful.
I mean...
What about the Sikhs though? Wait, aren't there Sikhs in India?
There's Sikhs. There's lots of different religions. India is a very big country.
So yeah, what about the rest?
But I think there is this particular hatred towards Muslims specifically. But maybe we could get a guest who can talk about this in a bit more detail and how it kind of overlaps when we're thinking about what's happening in Palestine, but also somehow connecting it to Africa too, because I'm sure there is. Because there's obviously a lot of Indians migrated, right, to Africa. There's a lot of Kenyan, Ugandan.
You said Kendians. Kendians.
Sorry, Kenyan Indians or East African Indians. But anyway, I believe we did speak to someone in an upcoming podcast about this a little bit.
Yes, we did. Yeah. We did. But we didn't go into enough detail.
I know, we didn't
experience it completely like I wanted to experience it.